Welcome to the Align and Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Laura Monique, teacher and curriculum writer turned program mentor and business strategist for coaches, educators, and mentors, and creator of signature program design. I've helped dozens of established coaches like you create their own signature program that creates incredible transformations and consistent growing revenue in their business. Whether you created a program that felt off in some way, maybe it felt scattered or heavy or just hard to sell, or you know you're delivering results one-on-one and you want to create a more scalable offer, this is the podcast for you. Here you'll find practical strategies, encouragement, and inspiration to create the offer that you will be known for, that feels aligned, and that you are really meant to create to inspire others. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Align and Inspire podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the invisible strategy to creating consistent income in your business. If you have maybe created some income and revenue in your business, but it's felt like up and down, or some months go well, some months don't, and it doesn't feel predictable, this is going to be a fantastic episode for you. But before we dive in, I wanted to give you a quick update thinking about where you are at the time of recording. It is late August and I'm in Canada, so my kids don't go back until Labor Day, but we definitely feel like we're wrapping up summer, thinking about back to school. My youngest goes into kindergarten this year, which is so fun. I'm definitely not one of those moms who feels sad about a stage. I mean, sometimes, but it's very rare. Usually I'm just really excited and happy and present in the new phase that they're in. And I'm really excited for my youngest to go into kindergarten. He is totally ready for that. And I am on such a high at the moment because I just got off a one-on-one call with one of my clients who's in signature program design. And she is just wrapping up and she is doing so well. I can see she's really created the program and the vision that she had for it. She has really taken fantastic action, which we're going to be getting into in this week's episode. She launched her first iteration of her program in 2 weeks, which was amazing. Definitely a record. She learned so much from that iteration, and now it's really evolving into the program that she truly wants to create. It's like a next level version of it. It's more like there's strategy in what she's doing, but there's also a lot of mindset and work that she's doing in her program. It really incorporates both. It's really going to have that transformation. And I'm so excited for her. She's got her sales strategy. She's got what the program's going to look like. She knows when she's going to launch it again in September, and she's really evolving it. And I'm so excited for her. It's so fun to hear. When you have a client and you see their transformation at the end, it's so much fun. So I'm so excited for her. And I think part of the reason that she's had the success that she has is because she has been applying. She's been applying this. So she's already had clients. She's been getting one-on-one clients. She launched her group. She ran that program with her beta members. She already has people signing up for her workshops in the fall. And a lot of her success, I think, really has to do with this strategy that I want to get into today. So I don't know about you, but one thing I've noticed, I've been in business for 7 years and I've taken many programs. There's a reason I teach programs. I love programs. Is that when you are in it, either when you're running one or maybe you've been a student or a client in some programs, is that some people around you can get fantastic results, more sales, they can fill their programs, they get all these great results, but then others don't. And sometimes I think we think it's something external, like their audience size or the niche that they're in, or that they understand something about marketing or offers that you don't. And of course, those things matter. They really do. I mean, I'm not going to say that someone with an audience size that's 10 times yours. I mean, yes, it will make a difference for sure, but you can have a great niche, a great audience. You can know a lot and you can still not get the results that you're after if you don't have this underlying invisible strategy or way of seeing the world. If you don't have this in place, all of those external things won't matter, because it also explains when you think about if you've ever been the person or you know people who have launched the same offer multiple times to the same, like maybe you have the same audience size, maybe you have the same offer, the same launch strategy. One launch goes really well, one launch flops. Like, why is that? And yes, we always need to be growing our audience. You need to be refining your messaging, all that strategy. But without having this principle, no strategy or marketing plan is really going to work till its fullest potential for you without this understanding. It's truly, truly key. And I love it for you because it's not only going to help you create consistent revenue in your business, it's going to help you with any goal that you want to achieve in your business or in your life. And it's also going to help you as you coach your clients too. So, what I want to start with this concept is how most people and most entrepreneurs operate and what successful entrepreneurs do differently. So most people operate in the paradigm of have, do, be. Have, do, be. So when I have the audience, then I'll do the launch and then I'll be successful. Or when I have the right niche, then I'll do the launch and then I will feel abundant or I'll feel good about it or it'll go well. When I reach my goal, then I'll feel happy. Or when I reach my goal, then I'll feel safe. Or when I have consistent income, then I will feel safe and secure and confident in my business. Right? That's how most of us think. Once we hit this thing, once we have this external outcome, we will feel a certain way. Because when you think about any goal that you want to achieve, it's usually because you want to feel a certain way. So even now, as we think about this, I'd love for you can pause this episode if you want, but think about your goal, and maybe it is to get consistent revenue or consistent income in your business. Maybe it's to hit a certain income level, a certain number of clients in your next program to create your program. Think about if you had that thing, how would it make you feel? What is the feeling that you're going for? So for me, when I started really focusing on consistent revenue and consistent income, I actually wanted to have a feeling of safety. I had a feeling of freedom in my business, which was awesome. I love the freedom in business, but I realized I had this sense of freedom, but I didn't have a sense of safety because it felt like sometimes my launches went well and sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I was making great money and other times I wasn't, and it didn't feel secure. So I was actually after a feeling of safety. So what is the feeling that you are looking for when you think about achieving this goal? So that is how most people operate, have, do, be. Instead, you want to operate from a model of be, do, have. Be, do, have. And even if you've heard of this model before, I want to give you some really tangible ways that you can apply this in your life and in your business. If you haven't, let's look at what be, do, have actually means. Be, do, have is about how you are being in the world will cause you to take the right actions to get the results or to have the results that you want. Does that make sense? So, for example, let's look at consistent revenue. If you are being someone who is in fear and lack and scarcity and feeling like nothing's working, what if this doesn't work? My sales aren't working. I'm not getting enough clients. There isn't enough money. And then you get into this reactive mode of like, I need to sell more. I need to do more. I need to get in front of more people. I need to make more sales. I need to post, whatever it is. You come from this more frantic energy and you're not necessarily going to get the results you want because people are going to feel this kind of like this scarce or frantic or nervous energy. Does that make sense? And you're also going to make decisions out of fear instead of out of a really grounded, confident place. But if you are being the person who trusts that your sales system works, that you do get consistent income, that you have that revenue coming in, you are going to make different choices, take different actions that get you different results. Does that make sense? So if you understand the be, do, have model and you are being the person that has the results that you want, then you can incorporate the right strategies and the right marketing strategies, the right sales strategies to get the results. But if you apply the strategy, but you are not being the person that gets that result, you're not going to get the result. Does that make sense? So when you apply this will make a drastic difference on your income, regardless of the strategy that you choose. Now, I am all about helping you find the strategy that feels aligned for you, that's right for you. That's what part of the work I do in signature program design. But no strategy is going to work as effectively as it could if you are not bringing in the be, do, have model. Does that make sense? So let me give you another example. Say you want to bring 10 people into your program. Who do you have to be in order to do that? If you think about the vision, who has 10 people come into their program? They are being a leader. They're being magnetic. They're being someone who has conviction in what she does, conviction that she can help you, conviction that her program is going to get results, right? You need to have that certainty and that strength and that groundedness and that leadership quality to bring people in, because people want guidance. They want to feel like you are going to help them. No one's going to join my program of signature program design if I don't stand in the certainty that I know I can help you. Does that make sense? Like, I know I can help you create a program. I know I can help you launch your program, deliver your program, feel really good about the program that you run. I know I can help you with that, and I can stand in that leadership and conviction, which enables that to become my reality. Does that make sense? So you need to think about, who do you need to be in order to get that, in order to make that happen? If you're questioning yourself and saying, I don't know if this is possible for me, this isn't working for me, what if nobody buys? What if blah, blah, blah? And you get in this state of stress, you're not necessarily going to have the results that you're looking for. Like, I think this was so clear with one of my clients a few months ago. She had run programs before, and she went to go launch her program, and she didn't get any sales. So she joined Signature Program Design. And in that commitment to saying, no, I am going to do this, when she started now she learned the strategies, she thought about how she wanted to create her program, she felt much better about her program. She had the strategies, but also energetically, she was at a place of like, no, I feel really good about the thing that I'm going to create, and I am committed to making this happen. She had 7 people join her next round, and she filled it. That was her goal, was 5 to 10 people. She got 7. But she was being a different person than she was before she joined the program. Does that make sense? So you have to think about, who are you being to take the right actions to get the results that you want? How are you acting? How are you feeling? What thoughts do you have? That's going to make an impact on the actions that you take, because your thoughts create the actions that you create in your life, which creates the results. Does that make sense? And the thing I love about this is, I've coached coaches who have years of experience and who will look at, like, who do teach this model, but maybe don't have that name for it. Be, do, have is so easy to remember. And it's something to come back to with consistent revenue, because even though I've known about the be, do, have model for years, part of the reason I didn't always have consistent income in the past was because I kind of fell off the horse. I would forget, and I would go into that place of fear or scarcity or stress, and I wouldn't be the person that I needed to be to get the results that I needed to create. So let's look at 3 practical ways you can apply this principle in your own business. The first way, the simplest way, is to surround yourself with people who are already doing the thing that you want to do. So if you're anything like me, people in your real regular life might not be doing the thing that you want to do. So for example, for me, if you've been listening for any time, any length of time, you know I am a teacher. I came from a teaching background. And a lot of my family, friends, my husband, my best friends, my mom, my aunts, like so many people in my life are teachers, which is fantastic. I mean, that's part of the reason that I can help you develop a curriculum so easily. I've been around teachers and in the teaching world for years, even before I became one. But teachers are not entrepreneurs. And when I was just hanging out with teachers, I didn't see what was possible for me. It wasn't until I invested and started listening to podcasts, investing in programs, that I started to see another potential for me. And you're doing this right now by listening to this podcast, right? I remember when I first started my business, I didn't even realize that you could even start a business that you could really get paid outside of your work. I knew other people could do it, but I never imagined it could be possible for me until I started listening to podcasts and I heard about Side Hustle School. And when I started listening to Side Hustle School, I don't know, 8-9 years ago, I don't even know when it was now, I started realizing like, oh my gosh, people like me create side hustles and make money outside their jobs. Like I could spend more time with my baby. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Okay, I want to try that. I didn't know that was possible. And then I started listening to people like Amy Porterfield and James Wedmore and thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe I could run this business full time. I had no idea. So they started influencing who I was being. I started to identify as more than a teacher. I started seeing myself as maybe I could be an entrepreneur. And likewise, once I became a teacher mentor and I was around other people that were doing this thing that I was doing, because when you think about it, like it's crazy when you think about it. Like if you had told me 10, 15 years ago that I would run a Facebook ad, spend money on Facebook ads when Facebook had just kind of come out, run money on a Facebook ad, bring these random people who I've never met before into a workshop, teach them things, sell to them, they would become my clients. Like the whole thing is like, there's so many moving pieces to it. It's just wild when you think about it. And so I had started to feel like, oh, that's normal. Of course I invest in ads. Of course I have a webinar. Of course I know landing pages and email lists. Like I'm around, all these people are talking about this. This is my new way of being. And it wasn't until I moved to switch from becoming a teacher mentor to a business strategist. That was again because of who I had been surrounding myself with. So I'm in a peer mastermind. I would highly recommend this if you know anyone that you can start this with. It's been such a game changer for me. So I've been in paid programs and I have a group. There's 4 of us and we meet every 2 weeks. And we message each other on Voxer, voice notes. We voice note each other on Voxer regularly. And we meet every 2 weeks as a peer mastermind and help one another in our businesses. And it's been such a helpful thing for me. And I highly recommend starting a peer mastermind. And a few years ago, one of the women in my peer mastermind was talking to me about business. And she said, oh my gosh, you're such a fantastic strategist. Like you should work with entrepreneurs. And I was like, I can't work with entrepreneurs. I work with teachers. Like I'm a teacher mentor. I can't work with entrepreneurs because who I was being at the time was someone who was a teacher mentor. That was the identity that I had brought in and decided was possible for myself. Because even a few years before that, I didn't think I could be a teacher mentor, but then I developed that identity. And then as I was talking to my friends and people kept encouraging me, like, you helped me so much with my business. You helped me so much with my programs and my systems. Like you should help entrepreneurs. I started seeing this as a possibility for myself. And I started being friends with other people who were in lots of different niches. And one of them were helping entrepreneurs. And I thought maybe I could do that too. And being around that changed my way of being. So then I started taking the actions to bring on one-on-ones. And I started doing a lot of one-on-one work, done for you work with entrepreneurs, and eventually evolved into the niche that I'm in now. But it was because of who I was being and who I was surrounding myself with. So think about who you want to become, and are you around people who think like that, who stretch your way of seeing possibility, what's out there for you, and can show you ways of being that supports your goals. Be around other people, entrepreneurs who are creating consistent revenue in their business, and it will start to rub off on you. So that's the first practical strategy, is who are you surrounding yourself with? The next one that I used was I recognized the main thing getting in my way was a lack of self-trust. I had a lot of self-doubt. I thought I was this little unicorn that everyone else around me had a lot more self-trust than I did, and I needed to work on it. But in retrospect, I think this is very common for a lot of people. And so I recognized that even though I had been learning the strategies I knew all about, people had been telling me I was a great strategist, right? Like I knew all about the launch strategies and audience growth strategies and marketing strategies and all of that kind of stuff, webinars, whatever, funnels, all those kinds of things. Even though I knew those things, I lacked trust in myself. And so I knew that I needed to be the person who had more self-trust. And the way that I did that was learning to trust my intuition. So I took programs to understand how to tap into my intuition as a business owner and the difference between fear and intuition. And there's a lot to it, but a little excerpt that I'll give you right now in this podcast, if you're curious, is one of the ways that I can tell I'm listening to my intuition and not my fear is in my body. So if I really need to calm and ground myself, get out of the fear feelings, like take really deep breaths, quiet myself, feel very calm and grounded, closing my eyes. And then I can kind of listen to, does this feel like something I want to do? Or am I holding myself back because of fear? And fear and intuition feel different in my body. And the way I started to notice the difference is I would look back on previous decisions that I was like, oh, I should have listened to my gut. Oh, wait, what did my gut feel like in those situations? And I started to notice what it felt like in my body, what fear felt like, and what intuition felt like. And intuition for me feels quieter. It feels grounded. Fear feels like constriction in my throat. I might cough. I might have like my heart might start to race, but intuition feels a lot more grounded, a lot quieter, a lot more secure. It doesn't feel as loud. And so that's one way that I started to listen to my intuition. And I'll link up, I have an episode with one of my intuition coaches, Jill Fubister. I'll link it up in the show notes. But when I started to really lean into my intuition and understand the difference between intuition and fear, I felt a lot more self-confidence and self-trust. And then I became more of the person that I needed to become to hit the goal that I wanted. So the second strategy is to start to learn how to trust your intuition and know the difference between your intuition and your fear to be the person that you need to become to get the results that you want. And usually that's around, if you're wanting to get consistent revenue, trusting yourself in your business. The last practical strategy that I want to give you to be able to embrace this be, do, have is a common strategy, but I'm going to give you like a next level of it. So what a lot of people teach is you want to envision your future self. And if you've been to any of my workshops, you know I talk about your future self a lot. You want to envision the future self of you that gets the results that you want to create. And you want to think about, how does she act? What does she think about? Who does she surround herself with? What does she believe about herself? And starting to imagine that person that you want to become. Like you set your goal and then you think about, who do I need to be able to achieve that goal, right? So that is the common way of teaching it. You might journal about it. You might meditate on it and visualizations, envision what that person looks like, right? And start to try to embody that. The thing that I found especially helpful with this, and this is kind of like the next level for you, is sometimes I find with visualizations is like guided visualizations will say like the future self of you who has the results that you want, or in 3 years from now, who are you acting like? But then it kind of puts this divide or this division between who you need to become and who you are now. And what I like to do is I want to show myself that it's not that far away and I am already becoming her. I'm becoming that version of me that is the person that I need to become in order to get the results that I want. So I find really tactical ways of bringing that into my actual current circumstance to remind myself of it regularly. It's like an anchor. So one way that I did this, so when I decided, I had already been working one-on-one a lot with entrepreneurs at the time, but when I decided like, no, I want to pivot, evolve my business into working with entrepreneurs, I wanted to step into this new identity and actually show up beyond just referrals and one-on-ones of people I knew in my network. I wanted to start like growing my audience of entrepreneurs. I wanted to step into this new identity. And so at the time, if you ever see any of my videos online, you can see that I'm in my living room. We have a family room in my living room. My living room is also my office. And I was in this tiny little corner in the side because for some reason I thought that this is the only place that I could put my desk. I don't know why. So I had a very small desk and it had served me well as a teacher mentor, but it didn't feel expansive. And it felt very small. It felt like my business was kind of like tucked away in my house. And I decided I wanted to take up more space. I wanted to be someone that was a leader in my industry. I wanted to be someone that people looked up to. And I wanted to be really confident and sure of myself in the business space. And I wanted my general environment to feel like that. And right there, it felt like I was playing small. So what I did is I reimagined how my living room could look. I have my couch behind me now. It faces a different way. And now I face all of my windows. And I got a whole new desk setup. So I have it's gigantic. I have a giant standing desk. It's also a lot more ergonomic, which I really recommend. My brother got me into it because I spend time at my desk. It's ergonomic so I can have the right setup for myself. I can stand because it's a standing desk to do my workshops regularly. So I can feel like a more commanding presence. I walk on my walking pad regularly when I'm in meetings with my team or my peer mastermind, when I'm running emails. So it's a whole different experience in my work. And I really feel like I was able to step into this new identity because my business takes up more space in my house. Like my whole office space is much larger. People comment on it when they come to my house, like, oh my gosh, your office is so cool. Like, I love your office space because it looks like this is a real office. Like I am taking up more space physically in my space, and it reminds me to be that person until I became her. Another thing that I've done is imagined what my future self would wear, and either in clothes that I already have, or I've even bought a few pieces that have made me feel like that future version of me. So I have this sweater. It's so funny. Like I love Lululemon. I don't know why it works for me, but I envisioned myself having like a collared shirt and like one of those, those monochromatic like athleisure outfits. For some reason, my future self wore this. So I wanted to buy one of those. Or I have these Rothy's that I imagine when I hit my goal, I'm wearing those shoes. So I wear those shoes when I'm doing something scary because it grounds me in the future self that I'm becoming. So anything like tactile that you can add to your day-to-day life to remind yourself of the future vision that you've created for yourself, to remind you to be that person now, can really help you in who you're becoming to take the actions that you need to get the results that you want. And truly, I know it seems so crazy, but if you want to have consistent revenue in your business, yes, you need the strategies. Yes, you need the marketing and the messaging and all that kind of stuff. But you also need to be the person who gets consistent revenue. And this can really help you with that. So let's recap what we talked about in this episode. So the first thing we talked about is most people operate from a have, do, be model. When I have the thing, then I can go do the action and then I'll feel a certain way. When I have the audience, then I can launch. When I have more people on my email list, then I can launch, instead of saying, who do I need to become in order to take the right actions to get the results that I want? The be, do, have model. And it's a really easy model to conceptualize, but it's sometimes hard to put into practice on a regular basis. It's easy to fall out of it. And so some practical strategies that we chatted about in today's conversation was, first, surround yourself with people who are being like the version of you you want to become, who are getting the results that you want to create in your business. If you want to create consistent revenue, be around people who are creating consistent revenue in their business. The next is to really lean into self-trust. Be that person who trusts themselves. And one of the ways that I did that was learning about how to trust my intuition. And then the last thing we talked about is how to create a vision of your future self and have anchors in your day to remind yourself to be that person. Maybe it's a smell. Like I have my favorite candle that I light regularly when it rains because it reminds me of that. I have a desk, different things you wear. What are different anchors that can remind you to be that person now? So I loved creating this episode. I would love to hear how it was for you. And circling back to what we talked about at the beginning, my client who launched in 2 weeks and then is launching again, is refining. When you think about who she is being, she told me that she felt a lot of fear for a long time, but now she's like, you know what? I'm not going to let fear stop me anymore. I am going to feel the fear. And I always recommend having ways to feel the fear, but also like ground you, like feel safe in your nervous system. You don't have to feel outrageously afraid, but having a certain level of fear, but still taking small leaps anyway, because she's committed to the vision that she's creating for her in her life. And that's what enabled her to launch the thing, to take a new program that she's becoming certified in, to start working more one-on-one with people, to launch her next version, to ask me questions. Like sometimes people in my program won't necessarily ask the questions because they're not being the person who takes the actions. So she's being that person and she's getting the results she's looking for. So I would love to hear if this struck you in any way, if you had any ahas from this week's episode. You can send me a message. I'm the one who checks my Instagram messages. I'm not as good on email. I have my wonderful team, Rebecca, who looks at my email, but I do reply to all my DMs. So if you send me an Instagram message, laurenmonique.business, and let me know any takeaways that you had from this episode, I would absolutely love to hear them. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you on next week's episode of the Align and Inspire podcast.